Before we begin, tell me in the comments where are you watching from, and what time is it right now? Every day before going to school, Miss Sherry takes care of her four-legged friends in the neighborhood. She gives them food, water, and most importantly, love. Her students are also very proud of their teacher because she has a big heart, but Mrs. Harris doesn't just stop there. She even organizes charity events to help stray animals. One day, Miss Harris came up with a brilliant idea. And so on Friday, she posted on social media calling for help. Many people supported her cause, including local businesses. Someone even donated 100 dog bowls. To their great joy, a large crowd of people gathered there ready to do good deeds. Everyone brought food, toys, water, and most importantly, love for the homeless dogs. But once they realized that everyone had come to help them, they became much friendlier. People told each other stories about homeless animals they'd seen and discussed what else could be done to help them. It turned out that there were much more stray dogs in the city than anyone had imagined. The dogs happily took the food and treats that the people offered them. The children were delighted. They couldn't believe how quickly the food disappeared. She wanted to feed 100 homeless dogs, but she needed the whole city's help to make it happen. The woman was happy because she managed not only to help the homeless dogs, but also unite the people of the city. It turned out that someone had taken most of them to their homes. The fact was that when everyone saw how charming and friendly the animals were, they couldn't resist adopting them. She greeted everyone and thanked them for their willingness to help the homeless animals. Some volunteers walked the dogs while others played with them. The kids were just over the moon. They wished this day would never end. Now the teacher often posts pictures of the homeless dogs she has taken care of. Every time she sees a stray animal, she tries to tame it and find it a new owner. Sometimes people join the teacher, and sometimes they just watch her take care of the homeless animal. Looking at these pictures, you can see that each of them is unique and deserves a loving home. The woman also has 3 other dogs, but they get along with Lay anyway. The new owner had to work hard to gain the dog's trust, but now the two are best friends. She took it to the vet, where it received a much-needed injection and some food. She often posts pictures of her pets on social media, which she then uses to raise money for their maintenance. She is a true defender of animals who devotes her time, energy, and money to their needs. Then the woman took the husky home. She understood perfectly well that no one would come to adopt the dog at the shelter. The teacher calls her followers to do good deeds and help homeless pets. The staff of the shelter try to find new owners for the animals, and the teacher helps them with this process. Therefore, she decided to keep the animal herself. Everyone was upset, but they knew they'd be back again soon. They believe that homeless animals should be allowed to die off naturally. She draws the public's attention to the fact that many animals are trying to escape the cars. Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video. Bye. Since then, the woman has been looking for the kitten's mother, but hasn't found her yet. However, the tiny animal is doing well. You can see how close some animals are to death. If they had been run over, they might not have survived. Even if you can't pick up every single animal, you should at least slow down to avoid hitting it. One day, the teacher was walking along the street and saw a thin and emaciated husky sitting on the side. Unfortunately, many drivers don't slow down and hit the animals. Miss Harris asks that this terrible thing be stopped. The dog looked like it hadn't eaten for days. Without thinking twice, the woman stopped to pet the animal. It licked her hand timidly and wagged its tail. When the teacher and the children left, there were only happy smiles around. Perhaps they simply cannot believe that anyone would stop to help a homeless dog. After all, such cases are rare. All the dogs were fed, which meant that no one would have to spend another night hungry. Well, after all, they smell bad, look wild, and are generally considered to be carriers of various infections. In addition, many people are afraid of dogs. So it's understandable why no one wants to approach the animal. After that, the teacher took everyone to the places where the stray dogs usually stayed. Would people support her, or would they just ignore her as usual? The teacher didn't know about it. Many users admired the woman's work and joined the movement to help homeless animals. It was incredible. There were so many of them that several boxes had to be brought in to store it all. The teacher was very happy with the children because they had done a great job. This mission was a huge success, thanks to the efforts of everyone in the community. Together they managed to collect a huge pile of food for the homeless animals. She just had a hunch that everything would work out. The next morning at school, Miss Harris told her students about her plan. If every one of you brings food for homeless animals, we can make a huge difference in their lives, the teacher said. I want you to bring whatever you have at home: dog biscuits, food, bowls. Every little thing will matter. At first, the kids were hesitant, but then they all got excited about the upcoming weekend. They couldn't wait to show their teacher what they had brought. On Friday afternoon, the students returned to school with bags of food for homeless dogs. But that wasn't enough. Miss Harris knew that to feed 100 dogs, she needed the whole town's help. On Saturday, all the volunteers gathered in the town square. Everyone was happy to help the homeless animals. The teacher was so grateful to everyone who helped her carry boxes of food and set up tables. After that, everyone went home to prepare for the main event. As soon as Sunday morning came, the teacher and the kids rushed to the square. Miss Harris was very happy to see that so many people had come to help. At first, the animals were wary of humans and stayed away from the volunteers. While the dogs were eating, the volunteers talked with the residents of the city. And after the people finished feeding the dogs, they continued helping them in other ways. Unfortunately, it was getting late, and the volunteers had to say goodbye to the furry friends. Looking at the tired but happy faces of the dogs, Miss Harris realized that she had made the right decision. Later, the teacher posted pictures of the event on social media. The post immediately gained momentum. But the most important thing was that the teacher's deed inspired others to follow her example. After this event, something amazing happened. People began to notice the homeless dogs less and less. Miss Harris was very happy to hear this news. When the teacher walks along the street and sees an animal in need, she stops and asks passers-by if they can help the dog. It is hard to say what goes through people's minds when they see Miss Harris and her four-legged friend. In general, it is hard to imagine that someone would want to have breakfast in the company of a stray dog. However, Miss Harris isn't afraid of any of that. And here's another touching story that happened to Miss Harris. Of course, the teacher couldn't leave the dog in that state. Now the dog named Leia lives in the teacher's house. As you can see, Miss Harris really loves animals. The teacher also regularly visits the shelter, where she plays with the cats and dogs, takes them for a walk, and most importantly, gives them as much love as possible. As you probably already guessed, almost all of Miss Harris's social media posts are dedicated to animals. It's safe to say that Miss Harris has found her calling in life. However, the woman doesn't just help homeless animals. She also regularly posts on social networks asking people to be careful on the road. In the pictures, you can see the wild look of the animals, which means they've been on the streets for a long time. Looking at the photos, you can understand the seriousness of the situation. Probably one of the scariest pictures was the one where a small kitten was lying on the road. Miss Harris picked it up and took it home. Miss Harris asked her followers to take care of the animals on the road. Many people share the teacher's point of view, but there are also those who disagree. So friends, what do you think of the story?